By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Congress of the United States and by the Board of Directors of Georgetown University, I officially confer upon His Excellency Ban Ki-moon the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. And it is now my pleasure to present His Excellency Secretary General Ban Ki-moon.
Dr. John DeGioia, President of Georgetown University, Dr. Robert Groves, University Provost, Dr. James Riordan Anderson, Interim Dean of the School of Foreign Service, esteemed faculty members, ladies and gentlemen, and most of all, dear graduate, congratulations. Please join me in also saluting to the families, friends, and faculty who shared in your journey and achievement. Mr. President, dear student, thank you for this honorary degree upon me. I humbly accept this degree on behalf of all the dedicated United Nations staff who are working day and night for peace, development, and human rights. The honor is for them. I thank you again. Dear graduates, I feel at home at Georgetown. Your list of graduates reads like a United Nations directory. It includes so many people, particularly among them UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric. Where are you? Thank you. You must have been listening many statements which I have been issuing every hour, every day. But there may be something, some people may not like it. If you don't like it, blame him. Ladies and gentlemen, since I like to speak in the local language wherever I travel, he taught me an important phrase. Hoya saksa. I asked him what it means. He said it means what rocks. I asked him what that means. He said, I have no idea. It's just good. I think you all rock. I know some of you have spent all the night through rocking and dancing, singing. Again, congratulations on this big day. Dear graduates, ladies and gentlemen, particularly graduates, you have achieved a pivotal moment in your lives. Our world is also at crossroads. 70 years ago, next month, the United Nations was born in San Francisco. Since then, United Nations has helped end wars and start progress in places where nearly all hopes was lost. We have protected millions of people, but repression and exploitation still continue. The ozone layer may have been saved, but the existential threat of climate change looms. Today, we face multiple tragic crises from Syria to Yemen to South Sudan. There are more refugees, 50 million refugees than any time since the end of Second World War. Inequality is growing, extremism is spreading. At the same time, we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We are the first generation that can end global poverty. We are the last generation that can slow global warming. Dear students, ladies and gentlemen, here are 3 ways you can lead. First, make the choice of service. There are many paths, including the one I chose, public service. What is important to remember is that history does not measure a person by his or her bank account. What counts is how much one gives back to the world and how courageously one fights for what is right and for those in need. I'll tell you my personal story. In 1962, I was in Washington, D.C., just visiting as a student. As one of the international students, we were invited, luckily, to the White House, and I met President Kennedy at the time. I was a group of 100 people. He said, at the time of Cold War, you can be friends, even though the governments may not. But what is important at this time, there are no national boundaries. The question is how much and whether you are ready to extend your helping hand to the people who are in need. This is exactly what I'm asking you. This is my 9th year as a Secretary General of the United Nations. I have seen leaders rise and fall. But what stays with me is this simple truth. When individuals serve others, they enrich themselves. When countries serve the global interest, they advance their own security. Dear graduates, my second message is be bold and champion progress. When I became UN Secretary General, there were new issues to confront, including human rights for all the people, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. Some wanted me to be quiet, don't speak. But I felt obliged to speak out because lives were at stake, because this is a human rights issue. I stood with the LGBT members of the human family, and today, same-sex partners at the United Nations enjoy equal rights with anybody, any staff. Thank you for your support. This year, the United Nations is working to champion progress across our agenda of peace, development, and human rights. These are 3 pillars of the United Nations Charter. In September, we will adopt a new sustainable development agenda to end global poverty, including a set of sustainable development goals. In December, all the governments of the world have promised to finally reach an ambitious universal agreement on climate change. Last month, I met with His Holiness Pope Francis in the Vatican. We talked about his upcoming encyclical on human ecology and the environment. I believe this document, encyclical, when published next month, can profoundly shape how we view our responsibilities to the planet and to one another. Georgetown University, as a Jesuit institution, will no doubt be in the forefront of this bold pursuit for a better planet. My third message to you today is listen. Listen, most of all, to opposing views. In my time as a Secretary General, I have seen too many leaders turn a deaf ear to the voices and dreams of their own peoples. It is as though they rule with noise-canceling headphones. Again and again, I have urged the leaders to listen carefully and sincerely to the aspirations and concerns of their people. But listening is not just for leaders. It is just as important for average citizens to turn to each other with open minds, open ears. Yet I fear that people are increasingly reluctant to hear dissonant voices. They are comfortable in their echo chambers. Too many countries rush to point out an affront against them, but ignore the legitimate grievances of others. We must close empathy gap that is so prevalent in our world today. This is not an age for worlds of one. We must be one world, one world. Dear graduates, esteemed faculty members, ladies and gentlemen, today you receive your Georgetown diploma. That is one of the greatest achievements a young person can earn. And congratulations, and you should be proud. But listen carefully. But it also comes with an IOU. I'm not talking about your student debt. I cannot do much about that. You have another debt. Your debt to society, the responsibility and the privilege that comes with your achievement to inch the world closer to social justice. Let me give you one last bit of advice, something my middle school principal told us as a young man. I quote, "Keep your head above the cloud," he said, "and your feet firmly planted on the ground, and then move step by step." In other words, aim high and take practical action to realize your goals. So choose a service, be bold, listen, and act with passion and compassion. Be a global citizen. If you do, I have no doubt you will rock us all to a better future. Hoya Saksa. Thank you. Thank you.